Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the U's Harmony, watching the stars drift past the main viewing screen. The massive colony ship hummed quietly as it moved through hyperspace, carrying 50,000 humans to their new home in the Andromeda sector. Elena had commanded many ships in her 30 years of service, but none as important as this one. The Harmony was special. It carried families, not soldiers. Children ran through its corridors, laughing and playing games. Teachers held classes in the observation decks, where kids could see the amazing colors of distant nebulas. Engineers worked alongside their teenage sons and daughters, teaching them about the ship's systems. Scientists shared their knowledge with curious, young minds who asked endless questions about space and aliens and what their new home would be like. Elena smiled as she heard footsteps behind her. Dr. James Chun, the mission's chief scientist, joined her at the viewing screen. His 8-year-old daughter, Lucy, often visited the bridge, asking Elena about being a starship captain. Today, Lucy was in school, learning about the different alien species they might meet at their destination. "Hard to believe we're really doing this," James said, holding his daily report tablet. 50,000 people starting fresh on a new world. "My daughter keeps asking if the aliens will be friendly." "The Galactic Confederation promised us safe passage," Elena replied. "We're members now, even if some species still see us as the new kids." The Galactic Confederation was huge, with hundreds of different alien species working together. Humans had joined only 5 years ago, after proving they could be useful. Most aliens thought humans were good at fighting and could live on dangerous worlds that other species found too harsh. Some aliens were friendly, but many saw humans as primitive creatures who were barely worth their attention. The bridge communications officer, Lieutenant Torres, looked up from his station. "Captain, we're getting ready to drop out of hyperspace. We should reach the Veil Nebula region in about 10 minutes. Elena nodded. The Veil Nebula was beautiful, but also dangerous. Space pirates sometimes hid in its thick clouds of gas and dust. Still, it was the fastest route to their destination, and the Confederation had cleared it as safe for civilian traffic. "How are our passengers doing?" Elena asked. "Great, Captain," Torres smiled. "The kids finished their choir practice an hour ago. They recorded a song for when we reached the new colony. Something about building bridges between the stars." Down in the education section, 12,000 children attended classes just like they would on Earth. They learned math and science and history, but they also learned about their exciting future. Their teachers told them about working with alien friends, about building cities under foreign suns, about being the first human generation to grow up among the stars. In the engineering section, Chief Maria Santos checked the ship's systems one more time. Everything looked perfect. The fusion reactors ran smoothly. The life support systems worked without problems, and the hyperspace drive was running better than expected. Maria had helped design the Harmony herself, making sure it would be the safest ship humans had ever built. The ship carried mostly families. There were farmers who would grow food on the new world, teachers who would start schools, doctors who would heal the sick, and engineers who would build their cities. Some people brought their entire extended families. Grandparents sat with grandchildren, telling them stories about Earth while the children dreamed about their new home. Elena walked through the corridors every day, talking to the passengers. She knew many of their names and stories. There was Mrs. Kim, who was bringing her 3 young sons to start a farm. Mr. Okafor wanted to open a school where human and alien children could learn together. The Martinez family had saved for 10 years to afford passage, dreaming of giving their daughters opportunities they never had on Earth. "Captain," Lieutenant Torres called out. "We're dropping out of hyperspace now." The stars stopped moving, and the main screen showed the beautiful Veil Nebula ahead of them. Purple and blue gases swirled in space, lit up by nearby stars. It was one of the most beautiful sights in the galaxy, and Elena never got tired of looking at it. "All systems normal," reported Chief Santos from engineering. "We're right on course." Elena was about to order the ship to continue when Lieutenant Torres frowned at his instruments. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple contacts." "Ships, lots of them. Merchants?" Elena asked hopefully. "No, ma'am. These look like military vessels. Different designs, but they're all armed." Elena's heart started beating faster. "How many?" "At least 20 ships, maybe more. They're spread out in a formation around us." The main screen changed to show the tactical display. Red dots appeared around the Harmony, forming a circle. The alien ships were much smaller than the colony ship, but they carried powerful weapons. Elena had seen formations like this before during her military days. It was called a kill box. "Open a communication channel," Elena ordered. "All frequencies. Channel open, Captain." Elena spoke clearly and calmly, the way she had been trained. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the United Earthship Harmony. We are a civilian vessel carrying colonists to the Andromeda sector. We have full Galactic Confederation clearance for this route. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions." The bridge fell silent. Everyone waited for a response. Seconds passed. Then minutes. The alien ships moved closer, tightening their circle around the Harmony. "Try again," Elena said. "This is the Hughes Harmony calling unknown vessels. We are civilians under Galactic Confederation protection. We request immediate communication." Still nothing. Elena looked at the tactical display and felt cold fear creeping up her spine. These weren't pirates looking for cargo. Pirates would have demanded surrender by now. These ships were positioned like predators surrounding prey. "Captain," Chief Santos called from engineering. "They're powering up weapons." Elena closed her eyes for just a moment, thinking about all the families sleeping peacefully in their quarters. Children dreaming about their new home. Parents planning their future. None of them knew that death was circling around them in the cold vacuum of space. "Red alert," Elena commanded. "All hands to emergency stations. Prepare for combat." But even as the alarm started ringing, Elena knew the truth. The Harmony was a civilian ship with minimal weapons. Against 20 military vessels, they had no chance at all. The alien ships moved closer, and Elena finally saw what humanity was truly facing. The attacking fleet wasn't just one species. 6 different types of alien vessels surrounded the Harmony, each design representing a different civilization. Elena recognized some of them from her Confederation briefings. The crystal-like ships belonged to the Zephyrites, beings made of living mineral who communicated through light patterns. The dark, insect-shaped vessels came from the Threx Dominion, a hive-mind species that thought as one giant organism. Smooth blue ships marked the Deep Current Collective, aliens who lived underwater and rarely left their ocean worlds. But the largest ships, the ones that made Elena's blood run cold, carried the markings of the Altarian Republic. The same aliens who had sponsored humanity's membership in the Galactic Confederation. The same species that had welcomed humans as junior partners and promised them protection. "Incoming transmission," Lieutenant Torres announced. The main screen flickered, and Admiral Kethfer of the Altarian Republic appeared. Elena had met him before, during the signing ceremony when humanity joined the Confederation. He had seemed friendly then, even kind. Now his face showed nothing but cold determination. "Captain Vasquez," Admiral Kethfer said, his voice calm and professional. "I want you to understand that this is not personal. Your species has proven too dangerous to be allowed to spread across the galaxy. We're civilians." Elena shouted. "We have children on board." "Yes," Kethfer nodded sadly. "We know. That is precisely why this must be done now, before you can breed more of your kind. Humans are violent creatures. Your psychology makes you natural killers. We made a mistake welcoming you to the stars. Elena couldn't believe what she was hearing. We're colonists, farmers and teachers and families. You are weapons that have not yet been fired, Kethver replied. Your entire species thinks violence is the answer to every problem. You will teach your children to be the same. We cannot allow that infection to spread. Another alien appeared on the screen next to Kethver. This one looked like a giant praying mantis with 4 arms and glowing green eyes. Elena recognized the creature as a Threx war leader. Human thing makes noise, the Threx clicked in broken English. Noise changes nothing. Humans must die. All humans. Universe will be safer. A third alien joined the transmission. This one looked like a floating jellyfish made of pure energy, one of the mysterious Luminar. When it spoke, its voice sounded like music played through broken speakers. We have studied your species carefully, the Luminar said. You solve disputes through combat. You celebrate warriors in your stories. You even play games where you pretend to kill each other. This pattern will only grow worse as you spread to other worlds. Elena felt desperate anger building in her chest, but she forced herself to stay calm. You're wrong about us. Yes, we can fight when we have to, but that's not who we are. We're builders, explorers, dreamers. You are predators, Kethver said firmly. And predators must be stopped before they destroy everything we have built. The transmission ended. Elena stared at the blank screen for a moment, then turned to her crew. All stations, prepare for immediate combat. Chief Santos, give me everything the engines can handle. Captain, Chief Santos replied over the intercom. We're a civilian ship. Our weapons are designed for asteroids and space debris, not warships. I know what we are, Elena said quietly. But we're going to fight anyway. The first alien weapons lit up space around them. Energy beams and missile trails crisscrossed the darkness. Elena watched the tactical display as the Harmony's few defensive systems tried desperately to stop the incoming fire. Some shots missed. Most did not. The ship shuddered as explosions tore through the outer hull. Elena heard Chief Santos shouting damage reports over the intercom, but the words seemed to come from very far away. Red warning lights flashed all over the bridge. Direct hit to Section C. Torres called out. That's where the elementary school is. Elena closed her eyes. Section C held 800 children, ages 5 to 11. Their teachers were probably trying to keep them calm, telling them everything would be okay. But nothing was okay. Nothing would ever be okay again. More explosions rocked the ship. Elena opened her eyes and saw that the aliens were targeting specific areas. They weren't trying to destroy the Harmony quickly. They were taking their time, choosing their shots carefully. They're hitting life support systems, Chief Santos reported, her voice breaking. And the escape pod base. They don't want anyone getting away. Elena understood. This wasn't just an attack. It was an execution. The aliens wanted to make sure no human survived to tell what really happened here. Captain! Torres turned around, tears in his eyes. I'm getting emergency signals from all over the ship. Families are trapped in damaged sections. The daycare center in Section F is losing air. Elena tried to think of something, anything they could do. But the alien ships kept firing, and the Harmony kept breaking apart. She could hear children crying over the emergency channels, calling for their parents. In the engineering section, Chief Maria Santos worked frantically at her control station. She couldn't save the ship, but maybe she could save something else. Her fingers flew over the controls as she programmed one of the ship's maintenance probes. The probe was small, designed to repair the ship's exterior. But Maria filled it with everything important she could think of. the ship's sensor logs showing exactly who was attacking them. Captain Vasquez's personal recordings. The children's choir practice from earlier that day. Computer, Maria said quickly. Compress all essential records and transfer it to Maintenance Probe 7. Include all tactical data on attacking vessels. Transfer complete, the computer replied calmly. As if nothing unusual was happening, Maria launched the probe just as another explosion shook the engineering section. The small device shot away from the dying ship, using its stealth capabilities to avoid the alien sensors. Maybe someone would find it. Maybe someone would know the truth. Back on the bridge, Elena watched her ship die around her. The aliens had been firing for 6 hours now, carefully destroying one section at a time. She could hear families saying goodbye to each other over the intercom. Parents singing lullabies to children who would never grow up. Captain, Torres whispered, the school section is gone. All of it. Elena felt something break inside her chest. 12,000 children. 12,000 futures that would never happen. 12,000 dreams that would never come true. Admiral Kethver's face appeared on the screen one last time. Your suffering will end soon, Captain, and the galaxy will be safe from your kind. Elena looked directly into the alien's eyes. You think you're killing monsters, she said quietly. But you're wrong. You're creating them. The transmission ended. Elena closed her eyes and waited for the final explosion that would send her ship, and everyone she had failed to protect, into the cold dark between the stars. 3 weeks later, Colonial Administrator David Park was reviewing supply reports in his office on New Geneva when his communication system started screaming urgent alerts. As the senior human official in the Andromeda sector, David handled everything from trade disputes to missing cargo shipments. But he had never seen his system react like this. Computer, identify the incoming signal, he commanded. Emergency probe transmission detected. Origin, unknown. Classification, priority, alpha. Recommend immediate review. David's hands moved quickly over his controls. Priority alpha meant life or death situations. The computer's analysis showed the signal came from a standard Earth maintenance probe, but it was broadcasting on emergency frequencies that civilian ships weren't supposed to have. The first file that opened made David's stomach turn cold. It was Captain Elena Vasquez's personal log, timestamped just hours ago, according to his computer. But that couldn't be right. The Harmony wasn't supposed to arrive for another week. Personal log. Captain Elena Vasquez, use Harmony, her voice said through his speakers. We are under attack by multiple alien vessels. They are systematically destroying our ship and killing everyone aboard. I don't understand why this is happening. We did everything right. We followed all the rules. David stood up so fast his chair fell over. He activated his emergency communication system and sent an immediate message to Earth's United Earth Command. Then he opened the probe's sensor logs. What he saw made him sick. The probe's recordings showed 23 alien warships surrounding the Harmony. David recognized the ship designs from his diplomatic training. Altarian Republic vessels. Threx Dominion attack craft. Zephyrite crystal ships. Others he couldn't immediately identify. But it was the final recording that broke David's heart completely. Children's voices filled his office, singing a song they had practiced for their arrival at the new colony. We are the bridge between the stars, they sang in perfect harmony. We bring peace wherever we go. We are humanity's bright tomorrow, reaching out to friends we don't yet know. The recording cut off suddenly, replaced by the sound of explosions and screaming. David sat down heavily in his chair, his hands shaking. 50,000 people. 12,000 children, all dead, murdered by the same aliens who had welcomed humanity into the Galactic Confederation. Within 6 hours, every senior human official in known space received copies of the probe's data. Fleet Admiral Sarah Hassan, commander of all human military forces, called an emergency meeting of the Human Defense Council. Admiral Hassan was known for staying calm under pressure, but when she saw the recordings from the Harmony, her face went white with rage. "How long since this happened?" she asked David over the communication link. "The probe took 3 weeks to reach us. Based on the timestamps, the attack occurred exactly 24 days ago." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, humanity's leading expert on alien psychology, spoke up from her seat at the council table. "The targeting pattern is significant," she said, pulling up the tactical analysis. "They hit the school sections first, then the family quarters, then the escape pods. This wasn't just an attack. It was genocide." "What do you mean?" Admiral Hassan asked. "Look at Admiral Kethver's statements during the attack," Dr. Tanaka explained. "He specifically mentioned preventing humans from breeding more of our kind and stopping us from teaching our children to be violent. They weren't just trying to stop this particular colony ship. They were trying to eliminate an entire generation of human children." Council member General Rodriguez slammed his fist on the table. 12,000 kids, Admiral. They murdered 12,000 kids and their parents and teachers. And for what? Because they think we're too violent? Admiral Hassan studied the tactical displays in silence for several minutes. The room remained quiet, everyone waiting for her decision. Finally, she spoke. "Dr. Tanaka, in your professional opinion, was this an official action by the Galactic Confederation?" "No," Dr. Tanaka replied immediately. "The attacking fleet contained ships from 6 different species, but they weren't acting under Confederation authority. This was a secret coalition, probably organized by the Altarian Republic. And in your opinion, what do the aliens expect our response to be?" Dr. Tanaka looked uncomfortable. "They expect us to surrender. Most species in the galaxy solve conflicts through negotiation or submission to stronger powers. They think that showing us they can kill our civilians will make us back down and accept restrictions on our expansion. They think we'll be scared," General Rodriguez said bitterly. "Yes," Dr. Tanaka nodded. "They fundamentally misunderstand human psychology. They see our capacity for violence as a character flaw that makes us unfit for galactic civilization. They don't understand that our protective instincts are the source of that capacity." Admiral Hassan stood up and walked to the large display showing human space. 37 worlds, each one connected by trade routes and communication networks. Billions of humans who had been living peacefully among the stars, building homes and raising families, and believing they had found their place in the galaxy. "They want to teach us a lesson about violence," Admiral Hassan said quietly. "Dr. Tanaka, send a message to the Galactic Confederation Council. Tell them we're withdrawing from the Confederation effective immediately." "Admiral, are you declaring war?" Council member Chun asked. "I'm not declaring anything yet," Admiral Hassan replied. "But I want you to contact every human world, every human fleet, every human colony. Tell them what happened to the Harmony. Tell them about the children." She turned back to face the council, and David could see something cold and terrible in her eyes. "The aliens think they understand human violence," she continued. "They've seen us fight in their wars, die in their conflicts, serve as soldiers in their armies. They think they know what we're capable of when we're angry. But they don't?" Dr. Tanaka asked. "No," Admiral Hassan said. "They've never seen what we're capable of when we grieve. When someone murders our children, we don't just get angry. We become something else entirely." David felt a chill run down his spine. Through his office window, he could see human families walking through the colony's main square. Children playing in the park. Teenagers talking and laughing together. Normal people living normal lives, not knowing that everything was about to change. "What are your orders, Admiral?" General Rodriguez asked. Admiral Hassan looked at each council member in turn, her expression completely serious. Find me everything we know about each species in that attacking fleet. Their worlds, their military capabilities, their weaknesses. Everything. How long do we have? David asked. As long as it takes, Admiral Hassan replied. We're not going to attack in anger. We're not going to make mistakes because we're emotional. We're going to plan this carefully, thoroughly, completely. She activated her personal communicator and spoke to someone off-screen. Get me a meeting with every human military commander, every research director, every intelligence chief. We're going to show the galaxy exactly what happens when you murder human children. What do we tell the families? David asked. People will want to know what happened to the Harmony. Admiral Hassan's expression softened slightly. Tell them the truth. All of it. Let them hear those children singing. Let them understand what was taken from us. David nodded, but he felt afraid. Not of the aliens, but of what humanity might become in the months ahead. The Admiral was right about one thing. The galaxy had never seen humans truly grieve. They were about to learn the difference between human anger and human sorrow. And David suspected that lesson would be written in fire across the stars. 2 years passed before humanity was ready to act. During that time, every human world became part of the largest military preparation in their species' history. But this wasn't the chaotic rush to war that the aliens expected. This was something much more dangerous. Humans taking their time to do things right. Dr. James Chun stood in his new laboratory on the research station orbiting Earth. He had been the mission scientist aboard the Harmony, and he had lost everything in the attack. His wife Sarah, his 8-year-old daughter Lucy, his dreams of building a peaceful life among the stars. Now he worked 18 hours a day, driven by a cold purpose that never left his mind. Computer, display the Zephyrite biological analysis, he said. The hologram showed a 3-dimensional model of a Zephyrite being. The aliens were made of living crystal that grew in complex patterns throughout their bodies. Beautiful and peaceful. They communicated through colored light patterns and never engaged in physical violence. They think their crystal structure makes them superior to organic life, Chun said to his research team. They're wrong. Crystal has natural resonance frequencies. Find the right frequency, and you can shatter them from the inside out. Dr. Martinez, his lead researcher, looked uncomfortable. James, are you sure about this? Creating species-specific weapons. They murdered my daughter, Chum replied quietly. She was 8 years old and wanted to be a scientist like her father. She'd never get that chance because these peaceful crystal beings decided she was too dangerous to live. Chun moved to another display showing the insectoid Threx Dominion. The Threx think as one giant mind connected through pheromone signals. Disrupt those signals, and their entire civilization falls apart. I've developed a neural virus that spreads through their communication network and causes permanent damage to their hive consciousness. His research team worked in silence. They all understood what they were building. These weren't just weapons. They were tools of extinction designed to eliminate entire species. But every person in the lab had seen the recordings from the Harmony. They had heard the children singing. They had watched 12,000 innocents die for the crime of existing. Chief Engineer Maria Santos now commanded the largest shipbuilding project in human history. Hundreds of orbital shipyards worked around the clock, constructing vessels that the galaxy had never seen before. The aliens thought they understood human technology, but humanity had been holding back. Status report, Maria demanded as she walked through the main construction facility. The Vengeance-class dreadnoughts are ahead of schedule, reported her chief designer. All 12 ships will be ready within 6 months. Each one carries enough firepower to destroy a planet. And the stealth carriers? 48 completed, 16 more under construction. The Zephyrites won't see them coming until it's too late. Maria paused at a viewport, showing the massive ship under construction in the center of the facility. The U.S. Harmony's Vengeance was the largest warship humanity had ever built, designed specifically to honor the murdered colony ship. Every piece of equipment, every weapon system, every armor plate had been crafted with one purpose: making the aliens pay for what they had done. What about the planetary defense systems? Maria asked. Installed on every human world, her assistant replied. If anyone tries what the aliens did to the Harmony, they'll face defensive grids that can stop entire fleets. But the most important preparations weren't happening in laboratories or shipyards. They were happening in the minds of ordinary humans, who had learned what their species was truly capable of. Fleet Admiral Sarah Hassan stood before a gathering of 10,000 military officers from across human space. These were the men and women who would lead the war, and she wanted them to understand exactly what they were fighting for. Play the recording, she commanded. The children's voices filled the massive auditorium. We are the bridge between the stars. We bring peace wherever we go. The song was beautiful and innocent, full of hope for a future that would never come. When it ended, the auditorium remained completely silent. Every one of you will carry a copy of that recording, Admiral Hassan said. When you're tired, when you're discouraged, when you start to think this war has gone on too long, you'll listen to those voices. You'll remember what was taken from us. She activated a holographic display showing the 6 alien species that had participated in the attack. The Altarian Republic, the Threx Dominion, the Zephyrite Collective, the Deep Current Empire, the Luminar Confederation, the Stoneguard clans. They call themselves civilized. They say humans are too violent for galactic society. They murdered 12,000 children to teach us a lesson about peace. Admiral Hassan's voice grew colder with every word. We learned their lesson. Now we're going to teach them one in return. Operation Cradle Song begins in 6 months. Every alien world that participated in the attack will face the full might of human military power. But this isn't about revenge. This is about making sure no one ever again thinks they can murder human children without consequences. The Admiral paused, looking out at the assembled officers. Some of you are wondering if this makes us the monsters the aliens said we were. Let me be clear. We are not doing this because we enjoy violence. We are doing this because we love our children more than we fear being called violent. The galaxy will learn the difference. Meanwhile, on a dozen different worlds, human intelligence operatives work to gather the final pieces of information needed for the war. They studied alien communication networks, identified key military installations, and located the homeworlds of species leaders. Ambassador Lisa Park, David's sister, met secretly with representatives of neutral alien species. Her message was simple: stay out of the way. We have no quarrel with species that didn't participate in the attack, she told a gathering of alien diplomats. But we will not tolerate interference. Anyone who helps our enemies will be treated as an enemy. The Galactic Confederation tried repeatedly to negotiate. They offered compensation for the tragic accident that had befallen the Harmony. They promised investigations and reforms. They begged humanity to reconsider. Ambassador Park's response was always the same. You wanted to teach us about peace. We learned that peaceful beings can be murdered while they sleep. Now you'll learn what happens when you murder the children of a species that remembers its enemies. As the second anniversary of the Harmony massacre approached, humanity completed its preparations. Every ship was built. Every weapon was tested. Every target was identified. Most importantly, every human soldier, pilot, and officer understood exactly why they were fighting. The aliens had expected human rage to burn out quickly. the way most species' anger did. They thought humanity would eventually accept the loss and move on. They didn't understand that human grief doesn't fade. It crystallizes into something much more dangerous. Dr. Chun finished his final weapon test and uploaded the results to the fleet database. Chief Santos completed the last dreadnought and watched it take its place in the attack formation. Admiral Hassan reviewed the battle plans one final time and found them perfect. The galaxy had taught humanity that peaceful beings could be destroyed by those who feared them. Now humanity would teach the galaxy what happened when you gave a species with long memories a reason to never forgive. Operation Cradle Song was about to begin, and the aliens who had murdered children while they slept would learn what human love truly looked like when it was forged into a weapon. The human war began at exactly the same moment across 12 star systems, just as the children of the Harmony would have been celebrating their 3rd anniversary on their new world. Fleet. Admiral Sarah Hassan commanded the main battle group from the bridge of the UES Harmony's Vengeance. The massive dreadnought was 10 times larger than the murdered colony ship, bristling with weapons designed by human engineers who had studied alien warfare for 2 years. Around her, 47 other human warships moved in perfect formation toward the Altarian Republic's home system. All ships report ready. Admiral, her communications officer, announced. Signal the stealth carriers, Hassan ordered. Begin Phase 1. Across the galaxy, invisible human ships that had been waiting in position for months finally revealed themselves. They had spent weeks moving through alien space undetected, their advanced stealth systems hiding them from sensors that the aliens had thought were perfect. The Zephyrite Crystal Cities were the first to fall. Dr. Chun's resonance weapons triggered harmonic frequencies that shattered their beautiful crystal spires from within. The Zephyrites had never imagined that their greatest strength could become their greatest weakness. Their living crystal bodies vibrated apart as their cities collapsed around them. The Threx Dominion fared even worse. The neurovirus that Chun's team had developed spread through their pheromone communication network like wildfire. Within hours, the greatest hive mind in the galaxy fragmented into millions of confused, isolated individuals who could no longer think as one. Their military coordination collapsed instantly, but the main target was Admiral Kethver and the Altarian Republic. They had been the leaders of the coalition that murdered the Harmony. They would face humanity's full attention. Enemy fleet detected, reported the tactical officer. 200 ships holding position around the 4th planet. Hassan studied the display. Kefir had gathered every warship the Altarian Republic could spare, positioning them to defend their capital world. It was an impressive force that could have destroyed any other species' entire military. He's gonna make a stand, Hassan observed. Should we call for more ships? Our executive officer asked. No, Hassan replied. We have enough. The human fleet spread out as it approached the Altarian forces. To the aliens watching on their sensors, it looked like a standard military formation. They couldn't see the 48 stealth carriers that had been moving through their system for the past month, systematically destroying supply depots, communication stations, and backup fleets. Admiral Kethver appeared on the main communication screen, just as he had 2 years ago, and he ordered the destruction of innocent families. Admiral Hassan, he said formally, I had hoped we could avoid this confrontation. You started this confrontation when you murdered children, Hassan replied coldly. I'm here to finish it. We did what we had to do, Kethver insisted. Your species is too dangerous to be allowed unlimited expansion. You solve every problem through violence. You're right, Hassan admitted. When someone murders our children, we do solve that problem through violence. Complete, absolute, final violence. The Altarian admiral looked confused. He had expected threats and demands, not calm agreement. We studied your species for years before we acted, Kethver said. You celebrate warriors in your stories. You play games where you pretend to kill each other. Your entire culture is based on conflict. Our culture is based on protection, Hassan corrected. We celebrate warriors because they defend the innocent. We play war games because we understand that sometimes violence is necessary. And yes, our entire civilization is built around one simple idea. No one hurts our children. Hassan activated her battle display, showing Kethver exactly what he was facing. The Admiral's expression changed as he realized that human ships weren't just approaching from one direction. They were already inside his defensive perimeter, behind his lines, positioned to strike at every critical target simultaneously. How long have you been planning this? He whispered. Every day since you killed them, Hassan replied. Every hour. Every minute. We don't forget, Admiral. We don't forgive. And we don't make the same mistake twice. The battle began with the systematic destruction of every Altarian orbital installation. The aliens had expected a frontal assault, but humans had learned patience. Their stealth ships eliminated communication networks, supply lines, and repair facilities before the main fleet even opened fire. Admiral Kethver tried to organize a defense, but his ships couldn't coordinate without their communication networks. Individual Altarian vessels fought bravely, but they were facing an enemy that had spent 2 years studying their tactics and preparing specific counters for every strategy. Admiral, Hassan's communications officer reported, we're receiving surrender requests from 17 different alien worlds. Tell them we don't accept surrenders from child murderers. Hassan replied without looking away from the tactical display. The battle lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the Altarian Republic's military no longer existed. Admiral Kethver's flagship drifted dead in space, its crew compartments breached and lifeless. But Hassan wasn't finished. She opened communication channels to every inhabited world in the galaxy and began broadcasting on all frequencies. Attention, citizens of the galaxy, she said. 2 years ago, 6 species formed a coalition to murder 50,000 human civilians, including 12,000 children. They did this because they decided humanity was too violent to be trusted among civilized beings. The transmission included the children's choir recording from the Harmony, followed by footage of each coalition world burning. These children were singing about building bridges between the stars, Hassan continued. They dreamed of making friends with alien beings and creating a peaceful future. You silenced them because you feared what humanity might become. Now you see what humanity becomes when you murder our children. The images showed Zephyrite crystal cities shattered into dust. Threx hive worlds where the population wandered in confused silence, unable to think coherently. Deep current ocean worlds boiling as humans triggered underwater volcanoes. Stoneguard mountain fortresses melted into slag by human plasma weapons. This is not revenge, Hassan said as the footage continued. This is education. We are teaching you that human children are not acceptable targets for your political games. We are showing you what happens when you mistake our capacity for peace as weakness. The broadcast reached every corner of the galaxy. On hundreds of worlds, alien leaders watched their televisions, in horror as humanity demonstrated its true military capabilities for the first time. The war officially ended 6 months later when the last coalition holdouts surrendered unconditionally. 5 of the 6 species that had attacked the Harmony were extinct. The 6th, the Altarian Republic, existed only as scattered refugee populations living under human protection. Admiral Kethver had been kept alive, specifically to see what his actions had accomplished. Hassan visited him in his prison cell as the war crimes trials began. You were right about humans being violent, she told him through the cell's energy barrier. But you were wrong about why. We're not violent because we enjoy it. We're violent because we love something more than we fear violence. The galaxy will never trust you again, Kethver said weakly. You've proven that you're exactly the monsters we said you were. The galaxy will never trust us, Hassan agreed. But they'll never doubt us either. No one will ever again make the mistake of thinking they can murder human children and walk away. She paused at the cell door. We established the Harmony Accords yesterday, Hassan continued. Any attack on human civilians, especially children, will result in the complete destruction of the aggressor species. No negotiations. No second chances. No exceptions. Hassan left the former admiral to contemplate his fate. As she walked through the prison complex, she passed memorials to every person killed aboard the Harmony. Their names covered the walls. Thousands of them, including a special section for the children. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity was indeed a violent species when their children were threatened. But they had also learned that human love was even more dangerous than human hate, because it didn't burn out or fade away. It simply waited, planned, and prepared to do whatever was necessary to protect what mattered most. Peace returned to the galaxy, but it was a different kind of peace. Species that had once seen humans as primitive newcomers now spoke of them in whispers. Parents told their children stories about the terrible price of threatening human families. And somewhere in space, construction began on a new colony ship. The U's New Dawn would carry families to the same sector where the Harmony had been destroyed. Human children would play in its corridors and attend classes in its observation decks. But this time, the galaxy watched and kept its distance. They had learned that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their ability to adapt or fight, but their absolute refusal to accept the murder of innocents. The children aboard the New Dawn would reach their destination safely, because the galaxy now understood what happened to anyone who tried to stop them. The lesson was complete, written in fire across the stars. Humanity had shown its true power, and the galaxy would remember it forever.